Hi guys, welcome to my Steps to Sobriety, my show on YouTube and podcast with your host Stefan Neff. And I have got Evan Safford with me. Evan is an astounding musician who has been performing and thought he would have the fantastic gig and a great night out. And that night, unfortunately, did not end the way he thought or anticipated. And his story today is so important for a whole variety of reasons. So I'm incredibly humbled and grateful that, Evan, that you came on tonight's show. Thank you so much. So welcome to you, Evan.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Evan, you had 2 months ago, you had a not so nice experience. Are you happy to share that a bit with us and sort of tell us how did the night start?
Well, to kind of go into what happened, I got to kind of tell you kind of what happened before to kind of like build onto that. So
Please.
last year, I had finally basically carved out my road to superstardom, right? I've been chasing my dream of trying to get my music to a place where I can elevate the world for a very, very long time, you know? I went to Hollywood after high school, and one bad decision ended me up homeless on the street. So I used that experience because I had to come back to my hometown, which is a small town. And I had to come back here because, of course, you know, I was homeless out literally on Hollywood Boulevard. But I used that experience to create a web series. And last year, I campaigned for the web series to be nominated for an Emmy. So I was able to actually get the show to be made with some amazing actors with no budget. You know, I threw parties to try to get an Emmy nomination, and I did this so that I could relaunch my music career. You know,
Beautiful.
and it did. Yeah, it really did. I mean, I was having amazing momentum. Every release that I was putting out this last year was bigger than the last. But then, of course, you know, the pandemic hit, right?
Yeah.
So everything kind of came to a standstill. But amazingly, I got a break. I got asked to headline the very first online Pride Parade celebration in America because back in April, at this point, COVID had canceled everything, you know. So they were like, no, Pride has to be canceled. Pride is canceled. But a friend of mine wanted to make sure that it went on, and they asked me to be the headliner. So it was literally a dream come true. It was the biggest moment in my career, and that was on May 2nd, right? So I headlined the show on May 2nd. The next day, I was supposed to do an after show, and I was out at the park rehearsing, getting ready for the show, right? And I had my back turned, and all of a sudden, I see a big dog start chasing my little dog, right? And I'm like, oh fuck, this dog's gonna kill my little dog. And then in the corner of my eye, I see somebody coming up to me, and all of a sudden, bam, 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 hits me 3 good times in the face. And like, of course, I get away from him, and then like I look at him, and then it's someone who I kind of recognize, and then he tells me, he's like, you should have stayed your gay ass inside. He tells me. And the ironic thing is that literally the day before I was out with my mom, head to toe, you know, kind of dressed, you know, kind of like I am right now, you know, out, you know, flashy, you know, representing Pride. And because of my involvement with wanting to make sure that Pride got celebrated, I literally became a target. And the guy knocked out 4 of my front teeth, and he shifted the rest to the side so bad that my dentist insisted that I remove all of them. So literally, you know, having the biggest day in my career, the next day, literally, my smile is taken away from me because of my choice to, you know, try to, you know what I mean? It was really, you know, it was an awful experience. I wouldn't wish it
man.
on anybody, you know, like.
I'm very sorry to hear that. And it just astounds me. We were just chatting a little bit before we started the show, and I was saying that I cannot believe it that in 2020 we have got still such beliefs and such actions deriving from such madness. I'm struggling to find the words because it does not make any sense whatsoever in me. And I mean, we must talk a little bit about the history of anti-gay feelings and resentment. And when I say gay, please, with that, I in nowadays would like to include the whole LGBTQ plus community. And
Mhm.
but when you go back historically, it was the gay bashing in the UK in the 80s, 70s. It was the 1968 Euro riots against the police brutality against gays that started it all off, where your right system became far more aware. But I do understand that the United States, the FBI, is actually now having a clear definition of hate crimes against gays and against the LGBT community, uh,
Mhm.
and is starting to count them. Now, I just looked these statistics up, and they were, I wrote them down, I've got them here. The FBI statistic, the latest one I could find was 2011, so nearly 10 years ago. And there were actually 1,572 hate crimes in the United States. So 20% of all hate crimes were anti-LGBT. Uh, and I looked at that figure and I thought, no way in hell. No way in hell. Whatever is
Right.
there, this might be the murders. This might be the the really out there where no one else can actually say, okay, we can't brush that underneath the carpet. But you cannot tell me that in a country of 300 million people, that there are only 1,572 crimes in 1 year against the LGBT community. You're kidding.
That's so true. That's so true. Somebody wanted to tell me that recently because I think I've been getting a lot of flack because of course obviously I'm a very strategic person. I run my own business doing something else on the side to function my music career. So people have accused me of lying about what has happened, and it's like what people don't know. There's probably been times where people have been killed, but they didn't know that it was because of a hate crime because they weren't around to tell. You know what I mean? They weren't around to be around to actually, be witness to that. You know what I mean? Like, who knows how often it still does happen. And one of the worst things about it is that when I called the cops, when I told them it was a gay bashing, like the way that they responded was totally, they changed the way that they responded to me. And I'm just like, I thought that if anything, that they would have more compassion. But if anything, they won't. They almost wanted to treat me like like I was more of a reason to be like to be wary that I was somebody who was unpredictable or something because of that. And I'm just like you know um, that was probably one of the worst parts. It was just like um, and then I'm sure what happened with George Floyd and everything. And I believe that because of COVID, some of the police officers have been able to get away with a lot of bad behavior because no one's really watching it because of COVID because our minds are somewhere else. You know what I mean? And I could feel that something was going to escalate with the cops. And Lord and behold, a couple of weeks later, the whole George Floyd thing happened.
For me, it's very hard to accept. But then again, I live in New Zealand, where we have got a very different relationship to policemen. We don't see, in general terms, behaviors that has become so pronounced and such a flaming reason for riots as we have just seen. And it's therefore it's really really hard. The guys that I know in the police force are normal guys, normal dudes. They
Right,
are,
right.
yeah. So it's very hard to imagine that, and there is certainly here in New Zealand we are lucky because there's an awareness there that people are uh, they they are very careful not to be seen as anti-gay or anti-color, anti anything.
Right.
So it is. So we are lucky. You, however, what I hear from you is that unfortunately things have not so much changed for you. Is that an isolated
Well,
incident, Evan? Do you think that is just that only applies to you and that these cops were maybe anti-homosexual themselves and or had just a shit day and the way they responded to you?
um,
Or from colleagues, friends, etc., have you got the impression that that happens again and again.
I think that one thing that because when I got attacked, immediately what I did is I of course for a second there after I got attacked, I thought to myself, I was like, well, maybe I was outside being gay. I thought to myself, I was like, well, maybe I deserved it. I thought, and then I was like, no, 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 fuck that. So then I went on my Facebook Live, right? And when I went on my Facebook Live, I did it because I wanted there to be truth about what happened. And then when the cops came, even when I was on the phone with 911, I told the 911 operator, I was like, I'm on my live feed, and then like I tried to have the cops come inside my house, but as soon as I told them that there was a camera, that was another.
Sure,
That's
sure.
when there was just
Okay.
that. You know what I mean?
And
So I yeah.
it's a tricky one, isn't it, Evan? I mean, bottom line is it's no professional wants to be filmed in an extremely stressful situation in which they go in without knowing what the hell is happening. So I think whilst the use of cell phones can be very, very advantageous to document and do basically journalism
We have to. We
on the
have to. Yeah,
grassroots level.
exactly.
So this is
Right,
very,
because
very good. But at the same token, being on the receiving end of a professional, as a professional, so let's say for me as a doctor, if someone was to come in and says, look, help my dad, he is nearly dying. And by the way, I'm going to film you now. Well, actually, fuck off. This is let me focus on what is important. So it is. I can see both sides of the story. So I can see where the police officer got his hackles up from the word go the moment you said
right,
camera. So I can see that. Not necessarily that I condone it and agree with it, but I can see where the conflict might have arisen and therefore his behavior changed. So I'm not so sure that it was in relation maybe to your to
I
you.
hope that it wasn't. I hope that it wasn't
Yeah.
because it's like but my whole thing is that I'm seeing that I know that nobody wants to be filmed, nobody wants to, but the thing is that we have to be able to be the same, have that integrity to be the same at all times if possible. Because I know that you're in sobriety, right?
Hmm.
Right. So like with sobriety, it's like one of the things that they teach us is, when we're wrong, promptly admit it. So it's like even if we're on camera, we go ahead and we can at least, say, hey, I messed this up, but at least I'm willing to at least, show you that
Hmm.
I have nothing to
Hmm.
hide. Because
Hmm.
that's what, not having a camera does is that it leaves it up to hearsay. And
Hmm.
me against a bunch of officers, I wouldn't have a chance. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? No
Okay.
one would believe me. I'm just a punk kid.
It's interesting that you have got such a feeling that you have to protect yourself. That speaks far more words and volume than anything else. Okay, so we can
Right.
we can talk about the technicalities of recording, yes or no, but the sheer fact that you feel that you can't trust the police, that actually is quite disturbing for me, and it's a shame to see and to sense in this interview.
Right.
That is that common, this perception.
Out here, yes,
Mm.
it is very common to have another alternative because a couple years ago I actually was a roommate had planted a gun on me, a water gun, and the cops came and they asked me, they're like, can we search the place? And I was like, sure. My roommate put the gun there, and then said that I attacked him, and then I went to jail for 3 days for something I didn't do, and it was all because I talked to the police. And after that, I realized that when it comes to the cops, everything you can say will be used against you. Nothing can be used for you. So it's actually in my best interest to just be quiet in that sense. So because of that incident, yes, I have a feeling about the police because yeah, I spent 3 days in jail over a landlord dispute when this person lied about me. You know what I mean? I don't have a gun. I'm not violent. This person was trying to take my money. Is what happened. And just like in Hollywood, he was good at scamming. And that's exactly what happened to me. And yeah, 3 days in jail. You know what I mean? I'm not built for jail. That place traumatized me.
Damn,
Yeah.
damn, man.
But I still have a good outlook. You know what I mean? I still have a very, very positive outlook.
Yeah.
I know that I may be expressing a negative connotation, but I'm really taking this in stride because
Mm.
I see the positive in this, and that this has allowed me to have a lot of compassion for somebody who I feel is in a lot more pain than I am, which is my attacker, because he must be in some type of self hatred, some type of, you know what I mean? Because what would make somebody lash out to a complete stranger? You know what I mean? Um, from my experience, I know that being in the closet and having to hide who I am will make anybody lash out. And hoping that he can get better. You know what I mean? Because I realize that he must be in a lot of pain.
I mean, that is a beautiful thing that you have already only now 2 months down the line, that acceptance. Having been on the receiving end of violence myself, I can attest that by 2 months, I was nowhere close to where you are. May I
What
pose?
happened with you again?
Eh?
You said that you were attacked at 13. You said.
Yes, it was 13 when a gang set upon me, and out of the middle of out of nowhere, they just poured a beer over me. Then when I stood up and said, "Why did you do that?" Next thing, I was lying on the ground and looked down and saw my teeth on the path.
Wow.
So that was, and again, you could argue at 13 you don't have any emotional insight.
Are you kidding? At 13, I
Yeah,
was so emotional. At 13, I was very emotional. I can
uh,
imagine what you went through. Jesus.
yeah. And absolutely, but equally, I know that resentment and anger was my companion for a very, very, very long time. How the hell
Right.
do you manage to forgive this guy now? And maybe then, may I ask a question? May I be devil's advocate?
Sure.
Are you still holding the mask in front of your face? Are you still are you still trying to see the good thing in something in order to avoid dealing with the grief?
Um, I think at this point, honestly, I wake up and I see nothing but the the possibility of this being the reason that I'm going to break into the mainstream like I've been trying to do since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
You know, I'm just like, you know what? In my mind, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this was God's divine intervention for this person to hit me in the mouth, and for that to make it so that my story and my
yeah,
ability to continue has much more merit and much more, just like purpose than
yeah.
just a kid who wanted to become famous. Now it's like, okay, now I'm somebody who has survived an attack, and and it's like the other alternative is to grieve something that that is of course superficial anyway. And I had a beautiful smile for many years, beautiful smile, and now I don't. And now it's just like, you know what, I appreciate it for what it was, but now people have been trying to tell me that I should get dentures or whatever, and I'm like, you know what, no, I'm not going to get dentures. Not until my local press can do an actual story about me, so I can raise money to actually get the implants. I'm not
Yeah,
going to put in dentures to make people feel good about something.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like, no, even if this reminds them of what happened to me. Even today, I actually spoke about this issue to my local pride administrators, and like I told them, I was like, we need to have more representation in these communities out here, because you guys are only in the communities where there's people with like a lot of money and like really privilege. But
yeah,
like where I live right now, there's a lot of people who are very disenfranchised, very poor, and there's no representation. And in my opinion, that's why I got attacked,
yeah,
because he hasn't, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing. So and I've always been very strong and very forceful, and like doing what I wanted. But like this has like got me to a whole nother level that like I'm just like I'm focused, and like I can't see anything else but the goodness. And people have been really hard. I can't even go on like a dating app right now without people telling me, "Oh, I'm glad you got your teeth knocked in, and you deserved it." You know what I mean?
really,
Like on on all my dating apps. And to me, the way that I look at it is like, wow, I think that I'm probably becoming famous, because I'm sure that famous people, they get harassed. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, eventually it's going to get to a point where I can't be on dating apps anymore. And it's almost getting there, because the hate is just crazy. People immediately want to throw it in my face. But with that said, there's still so much support for me. People who can actually see past the. So
oh, Evan. that's, I mean, it is, I so wish it to you. You actually remind me of an interview that I have seen from the Munich Olympics, I believe 1972, when the PLO went into the Olympics and killed much of the Israeli team, many of the team. And at that time, another runner from a completely different country was interviewed. And he was interviewed and saying, you know, you've had this massacre here happening next door to you. How do you feel about that? And he looked the cameraman into the eyes and said, I came here to run. For the last 8 years, I've done nothing else than working towards this moment in time. I'm very sorry for my Israeli colleagues, but I'm here to run. And
Yes.
this was wow. Okay, but the man had worked towards that career, towards that run. That was his life. Everything that mattered was this run for which he qualified to the Olympics. So you remind me quite a bit on that, because it
Yeah.
is that kind of,
I
yes,
love that. Thank you. Yes.
yes. You have obviously worked hard to get to where you are now. And I mean, what are the figures? One in
Yeah.
10,000 of young men do make it in the music industry. So if you want to be a
One in
rock
a
star,
hundred. 1 in 100 million. You know what I mean? Like,
one in 100 million.
at that level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like those odds.
A good man.
I don't gamble though. I'll tell you that. I don't gamble, but on me, for me, it's like I was looking at like the like laws of karma, and one of them is that you reap what you will sow, and eventually you will get it. You know what I mean? It doesn't always come when you want it to, and Lord knows I've been going after this, since I was a kid. I went to American Idol. You know what I mean? I freaking got told no, snuck back in. I've been trying to just do everything. Try to sleep my way to the top. You know what I mean? Try to find my way to the top, and like I've done everything, and now it's like I think that I'm finally starting to see because I've done it so wrong for so long. I'm starting to see how the fuck to do it right, you know. And a lot of it stems from that belief in yourself. You know what I mean? And that manifesting it. And before I would talk like negatively, I'd be like, oh well, I probably won't make it, or that probably won't happen to me. And Lord and behold, it never did. You know. But now it's like I don't even let people around me who even talk those type of things, because I'm like, no, you're gonna speak that into existence. You talk good things about me, and I'm talking good things about you, and they will become. You know what I mean? Your words become your habits, and to me, it's just like it's just a matter of time, And I don't say that with arrogance, but only with very very I'm very very humbled. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to come onto your show today, so that I could show people that it is possible to be able to move forward despite how bad and how hopeless that one might think. Because I mean, Jesus, I had the biggest day of my career, and literally the next day I am knocked down to the floor. You know what I mean? Having had my mom come help me. You know what I mean? And then having to deal with the dentist. Just and then even now having to explain to people what happened to me. It's like every now and then I cringe, and I'm just like I don't want to tell this person what happened to me. But it's just like I'm not gonna let that guy who attacked me take anything more from me, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be friends with resentment or anger. You know what I mean? I can't. It's just poison in me, and I can't do it. You know what I mean?
I know very much what you mean, because I've carried that resentment for a very long time. And it
Oh
is,
yeah.
I didn't realize it. I actually had created a mental framework around me being the survivor, me being the fighter, me being the guy who got really good in martial arts, and becoming proud of what I had achieved there, and proud of my situational awareness that I would never ever again be the victim. So I
Mm-hmm.
created a very positive framework around that. Having said that, I did not do the work that you have already started doing. I did not deal with my resentment, with the anger underneath there. That was the main thing. And it took me literally up until probably last year, because I ended up a friend of mine ended up with quite nasty PTSD. He was a special forces medic and ended really the wheels came off for him last year. And he
Oh,
saw a friend, a therapist of his, and a week later he came back from having a week off, and he said it's going to be all right. And I thought, bullshit, bullshit. The way you were, and you're going to be just all right. Come on, you woke up every night at 4. You were hyper vigilant. You were, revved up. And the moment I sort of thought that, I realized that I've just described myself for a very long
ooh,
time. So,
ooh. It's
so there was
amazing
the
how that
piece.
happens, right?
Oh, you hate it, don't you? So I just thought,
We
oh
consider it,
shit.
like, someone else's problem, and then it's like, oh fuck, that's me, right?
Exactly. So therefore, I
That's
stared the PTSD in the face for the first time
it's amazing,
for, for what it was, and I sought the help. And luckily, with the help that I got, very quickly, I was actually getting on top of the shit that was going on in my head again and again, and it was mainly the resentment and the anger that I constantly felt the need to be in control, the need to be there. Because like you,
right?
I am driven, and I was driven never to be again a victim, never to be in
Right.
that situation, and doing whatever it takes. So to a certain degree, we both are very the same. You with your
Oh yeah.
music and your career, me in my conviction that should anyone ever be again trying to attack me and take me on, or attack my family, it wouldn't be a nice outcome for him.
Right.
And that is deeply ingrained, and I don't think I will ever be able to eradicate that LP, that music track. That cannot be destroyed. However scratchy I go over it, that won't work. But at
Right.
least the negative emotions that came with it, I was able to sort out with the help of
Right.
some hypnosis and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm so pleased that you are cut from a different cloth when it comes to your positivity and your your acceptance, and
Um.
you're writing a song. I actually wrote a song too. I was playing the guitar. I was writing songs, but mine was not so pretty. I don't think it was had much to do with forgiveness. It was more
Right.
dark death metal kind of thing. so so bottom line is, yeah, I take my hat off. I mean, man, this is uh, your what you have gone through is one thing, but your true achievement is the way you're now handling it. I mean, this
Thank
is
you. And I just want to say something too, because I know that your show really focuses on sobriety. When I was 6 years old, my mom actually went into AA. You know what I mean? And from then on, I grew up in the meetings. You know what I mean? So I grew up
cool.
with, like, the big book and stuff. So it's like, I feel like, because of those principles, and because of, seeing like how resentments take you out, and like how, people will stay, in those, sickness. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the reasons why, I give credit to God, and I give credit to that too. Why I'm able to, be as strong as I am, because it's not like, something that's superficial. Because if it was, there's no way that I'd be able to, even be here in front of you, because superficial stuff is, very very fickle when it comes down to it. So I just want to kind of give credit where it's due. So I really admire you for, going, and talking about your sobriety, and really, making it a topic of, what I mean, like that's very admirable.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And that explains a bit. That explains a bit. You had this head start without maybe realizing that you had it. But, if I look at my sons, they had a little bit of a head start because they saw the changes that I did in my life. So that's good on
Right.
them. But
Oh
you
yeah.
would have been the next level. And as far as the absorption of principles of dealing with emotions is concerned. Your mum helped
um,
you when you had your attack there. How long has she been sober now?
26 years.
Wow. Wow. Please give her a big hug from me and congratulations. That's such an achievement. Such a wonderful achievement. Well done to her, man. Very
Right.
proud. Um, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Evan, where do we go from here? Where do you go from here? And with that, I don't mean your career. You're beautifully focused. You're absolutely focused. And I wish you so all the best here. I want you to be out there and want you to have the success that you're dreaming about. And that, more importantly, that you create as a vision. And you're a man who takes the steps to make that vision come true. And you are chipping away on that until you have got, and right now, you have got this big block of marble, and you go to until you have got your vision actually done, until you've
Yep.
got it there. So I wish that to you, man. I wish that
Thank
that
you.
you get all that. But what I mean is, where are you going with your feelings? Where are you going with? I mean, you talked to your pride representative there. Um, where do you want to take that?
Um, I really want to help raise awareness to the like to like kids and like to like the like teenagers and like kids in the neighborhoods that aren't really that privileged, and actually show them an example of of what it is to be someone who has come from the same city that they've come from, but who also can be themselves in any situation, and show them that that is possible. Because I remember when I was a kid living out here, I didn't believe that it was. You know what I mean? I was living a lot of lies, and it wasn't until I moved to Hollywood that I was able to actually really embrace who I was. You know, and I want to be able to share that freedom, because freedom, it's who wants to be trapped? You know what I mean? I want to release them if I can. You know what I mean? So.
See, it took me the better part of 50 years to figure out who I really was until I found my voice. You found your voice much earlier, and someone now tries to stifle you. No way in hell. No way. And
Right.
that's exactly the message that we need to give out there. Each and every young person has got a voice, and we want to hear those voices. Some of those voices might be a little bit nutty, and unfortunately, some teenagers they send their part of their brain on holiday, and it tends to come around 22, 23. It comes back. That's cool. That's
Right.
those things happen. They happened with me. They happened with my wife. They happen now with my sons. So it's a repetition. That is what it is.
Well,
But it's still there are voices out there, and I love it that we empower those voices, that we let those voices speak, and that we bring the message out there. There's an old saying, your rights end at the tip of my nose. And I strongly, strongly believe in that. You can think whatever you want, but you leave me alone. The moment you come a little bit closer than that, you're in trouble. And I think that's really, really clear. So if you
I like that.
are struggling to find your sexuality, or if you have found a sexuality that maybe is not typical in the setting where you live in your circumstances, and that could be that you are more outgoing in a very conservative country, let's say in Islamic country, etc., or it might be that the gender uh, um, representation doesn't work for you, that you just have a different feeling. That is that is you. That is you. And
Yeah.
there are many, many other people like you out there. So therefore,
Uh,
don't think for a moment that you've done things wrong. You might choose your battles. There are some young people who are out there and who want to rub their current thinking into the face of absolutely everyone around them. And everything is now completely only about their sexuality. And it gets a bit boring. I don't give a toodle
right.
if you are green, red, blue. I don't give a toss. Be happy, find a partner, or do whatever your lifestyle makes you happy. I'm really pleased for you, but leave me alone. I've got my own battles. I've got my own things. So I want to spread that message out there only because you are very concerned with the issues of LGBTQ plus. That doesn't mean to say that that needs to be my battle. But at the same token, me as a hopefully decent person, I will treat you with all the respect that you deserve. And that's your right. It doesn't matter who you are. You have got a right to be treated with respect and with dignity. And it's not on that someone, just because he feels a bit bad, gives you a bashing. Oh, fuck off. No. So I hope that all the guys out there and the girls out there, or those in between,
Right.
you guys listen up. You're wonderful. Okay, don't take crap. Live your life, live it to the fullest, and listen to people like Evan, who's going out there and is forging his destiny. And a few teeth here or there. Hey, what's that amongst friends? Kind of a thing.
Right.
Attitude.
It won't kill me, like.
And if it was to set you on the path for more people to listen to your music, that's cool. I mean, that's bloody cool. Of
Yeah.
course, your voice will have changed a little bit, your singing voice and your vocalization of your words will change. But hopefully, soon you can find some solution with which you then can
Oh yeah.
train your mouth and your tongue again to actually come out with the music that you want. And that might be a different style. It might change now with your new setting in there. Inevitably, it is the case, but it is what it is. It can only
I got
get
some good
better with
news
you,
for
I've
you.
got the feeling.
Right. Oh no. Actually, just on Wednesday, I actually went to the studio and actually I was able to lay down the song, even with my little list or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just had someone else in there and just enunciating it for me. So I was able to go past that too. So it's like bring it on all the freaking challenges. You know what I mean? Gotta hit me hard with stuff. You know what I mean? It ain't
Brilliant.
gonna.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Don't give up, guys.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Evan,
Yeah.
at the same to you, don't give up. You have got a voice there, and I want to hear that in the future. Oh,
Thank
Evan,
you so much for giving me this chance too. I really appreciate it because you have given me this platform. Because without people like you, there's no chance that my story would be told, and there's no chance that I'd ever be able to get where I'm trying to go. So sincerely, thank you for that.
it is an absolute pleasure. It was an honor to talk to you. Evan, look after yourself. Have a fantastic career, and no doubt I'm going to see where you end up. God, yeah, I can't wait.
I'll see you in New
Evan, thank
Zealand.
you so much
I
for
will see
being
you
on my
soon.
show. Look after yourself. I wish you all the best for the future. Eh?
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Talk to you soon.
Dream on, dream on.